morning นะครับ everyone. So today we are going to talk about the Power BI นะครับ in the last part that you know, whenever we would like to um, make use of the data from various sources. Okay, so let me just like have the recap for what we studied on the last class นะครับ Okay. All right. On the last class, I talked about the way in order to get the data from the text or CSV file. Okay, let me just share you my screen. Okay. Right. On the last class, we did this part. We downloaded the file. We downloaded the file from the e-learning. From the e-learning. Okay. Let me just have a look. Okay. So the file that we got from the last class was a CSV file. Okay, let me just like show you an example of the CSV file that we have. In this one, you can see that when we have the file, what we call CSV file, we can find this kind of file, like various sources, especially for the software that we use in most of the company when they have the systems such as the system that we call as a POS, a point of sale system. When we would like to use that kind of data, it generates the data in form of the CSV file, so that we can just like use this kind of the CSV file to just do the things like analyze the data or visualize the data by using just like the tools like Power BI, or we may use Excel in order to help us in order to get the data. The way that you can notice that whether it is a CSV file or not is that when you get that file already, the things that you have to see is that it is called as the hang on นะครับพี่นา we just like use the we just see the notice in here that is like comma separated value files. The comma separated value file or the CSV file, whenever we have to notice on this file most of the modern Excel can handle this file straight away by just like double click and then you can open it then just see the content in there. But I mean, like some of the computers that use the old version of Excel, or if you use Mac that doesn't have the Excel file the way in order to just like see this file the reason why it's called as a CSV or comma separated value file is that you can open with the notepad or text edit in Mac. You can see that in here you see lots of commas because this file is called comma separated value file. It is used to separate each thing you just like imagine that the comma is the border of each column in here. It's the same thing. So when you have this kind of the CSV file already, the way in order to get this data into Power BI is similar to what we have in got in the in this one. Just like use the Power BI you can see that in here. Okay, in this one when you get the CSV file, you do absolutely the same as when you get the Excel file but by the way normally in CSV file, each CSV file can store just the text data only what does it mean? It means that it doesn't have many sheets like we have got in Excel so that means from the example that I gave it to you, you had to get the CSV file many times one time, one file. So in this one, the way to do is that you just click text or CSV to get the file. And after that, you just go to locate that file and then open it. Once you open นะครับ it just show the basic preview of the CSV file. You just choose the file origin นะครับ if นะครับ if all the text are displayed properly you don't need to change any file origin นะครับ but if it shows just like lots of the alienated text the things that you have to do is that you have to check first where is that file come from นะครับ for example if you say that okay this file come from your office in Japan your office in China นะครับ or your office in Russia let's say the things that you have to do is that you have to choose the proper file origin how do you know the first one นะครับ you may just like ask your colleagues that okay what is a file origin that you use นะครับ you may ask them to check for you or um, you can just like search from the internet you can Google it as well that for the file origin that we use for the CSV file in Japanese นะครับ it will tell you that okay what is the in here we call it as the code number นะครับ for example in for Thai it is 874 something like that after that when you choose the file origin already you have to choose the delimiter นะครับ that is used to separate the values and you can see that the one that we saw before was about like the comma นะครับ because in some different software นะครับ they may generate the CSV file นะครับ they may generate the CSV file by using different symbols then you can just like choose that symbol instead and when you just like choose the proper delimiter already นะครับ you can just like click load นะครับ and then you just like do the rest of thing as you did with getting the Excel file. After that, you just like do the second, third, fourth, or so and so on นะครับ for the rest of the CSV file that you have got. The point that I want to tell you is that okay, when the data is separated into different CSV file, when you get the data into Microsoft Excel, sorry, when you get the data into Power BI นะครับ Power BI will try to analyze the relationship among those CSV file. The things that you have to make sure is that in the reality นะครับ it is possible that the file the field name นะครับ of different file นะครับ might be different นะครับ for example suppose we say that okay in one CSV file it use the name of the field of about the product ID as product ID นะครับ while another file it use the name of the field as product number you can see that for product ID and product number Power BI นะครับ cannot understand that okay product ID and product number means the same thing so it cannot justify the relationship for you the way that we have to do is that you have to just like you may have to rename them to be the same name นะครับ so when you rename them as the same name already นะครับ Power BI can just analyze and then find out the relationship for them and create the models automatically like it does like this one นะครับ you can see that on the last time when we just like get all of the CSV file I didn't do any relationship in here but Power BI will analyze by itself นะครับ from the same field name in different table นะครับ for example in here in the order table นะครับ and employees table we need to have a field we need to have a field in each table that is employee ID so that they can match automatically นะครับ so if they don't match what will happen suppose you would like to find the sales นะครับ you would like to visualize the sales by employees you will see just the employee you will see just like the sales by employee ID only นะครับ if you cannot link employees with the employee table นะครับ then you cannot find the name of that person นะครับ so this is the way that we do with the getting the data from CSV file apart from that one นะครับ the important thing that I told you on the last class was that This is really important and also important when you really have to use Power BI or you have to just like do in the final exam as well นะครับ The things that you have to know is that for the file นะครับ for the file the source data นะครับ that you get or you import into Power BI report file. Firstly, when it was located in a folder นะครับ if you move นะครับ that data or if you move that Power BI file, hang on, actually it's moving the data. If you move the data to somewhere else, you have to update your Power BI report file too นะครับ For example นะครับ in here, if you want to know where did you store นะครับ where did you store your data file before นะครับ the things that you can do is that นะครับ you don't go to File Explorer นะครับ because if you go to File Explorer you may not know because you may move it somewhere else already นะครับ and then you don't know, then you have to check in Power BI นะครับ to check นะครับ the location where you store the data นะครับ and Power BI map that data into its report file. You go to transform data นะครับ and choose data source setting นะครับ It lists out all of the files that we have got นะครับ in here. You can see that I store it in my own my separated folder นะครับ The folder is called CSV file here. Okay, so let's see นะครับ what happened. If the data is still in it's still in the location where you get it from นะครับ originally, when you go to transform data นะครับ in this one you should see all of the data นะครับ in the queries form or table form like this properly นะครับ For example, if we say that okay in the ordered query or order table, if you duplicate chip address full, let's see what happened นะครับ in here. If I duplicate column, I can get the chip address full properly and other tables are still okay. But if I just like move out นะครับ if I just move out my data somewhere else นะครับ for example if I say that okay I just go to my data source นะครับ in here it's here นะครับ Suppose I say that I move out the order table นะครับ to be somewhere else นะครับ I cut it and move it outside this folder. Okay, you can see that right now นะครับ in my CSV file folder I don't have order file anymore ครับ When we go to Power BI I go to transform data นะครับ You can see that in here. If I say that okay I will just like try to duplicate column นะครับ Now it shows the error because the data source is not found. Power Query Editor cannot do anything นะครับ with this data. You don't see that data นะครับ so this one is a problem because if the data does not exist นะครับ where you originally set up the data in here it said that okay the data that Power Query Editor is trying to find is located in ABC CSV file folder นะครับ file name is orders1.csv but anyway it cannot find. So what do we have to do นะครับ My suggestion นะครับ is that you close this Power Query Editor first. Why do we have to close it? Because if you locate the file นะครับ from Power Query Editor you have to do everything that you did before นะครับ again. For example, if you say that last time you duplicate the field and then you split some column already, then if you found the error like this and then you just like try to locate that file again นะครับ that means the step that you did you have to redo it ครับ so the things that we have to do นะครับ is here. Okay, let me just show you first. You can see that okay the step that we have is duplicated column, right, in here. Okay. If I say that, okay, I try to locate that file from Power Query Editor. I go to source, I go to source, and then click on the gear symbol. In this one, it just located that, okay, where's the file is located. Now I just like go to browse, to the location where the data is located in here. You can see that it's in here. If I click open, now it's like remap the file for me. It remaps the file for me. You can see that, okay, in this one, you may just like have the duplicated column, but sometimes, the step that you did might be clear off. So you have to be careful about this. The way that we may do is that, okay, if you know that you accidentally move the data to somewhere else, the things that you should do is that you go to in the Power BI screen, you go to transform data and choose data source setting from here. In here, just find the file that is missing. It was in here, right? Okay, orders.csv, orders1.csv is located in the folder ABC CSV file. You click on that file and choose change source. After that, the pop-up window will just like show again. Then you just like go to locate the correct location in here. Okay. Let me just like move them back first. Open and then okay. So right now I just like remap the data source into the correct location already. So that means right now all the steps are still remain the same. Then when you go to transform data, you don't see any problems anymore. What's going on with my one? CSV file order .csv. Hang on, let me see what happened. Here, the order is here already. Okay. Now I go to see. Let me just checkนะครับ. Okay. This one, okay, let me just close this file first. And then reopen it again. Now it's refreshed and come back already. So when you have to just like talk about the data source that you get in this one, you can see that we get the orders, the order data already. It comes back already. All right. So when you have the data like this, this is an example of the data source that you can get. It is a CSV file. Apart from that one, you have to know that we can also have the data source that is different than just like the local files that we get. You can see that right now. Right now we have the local files. We have the local files like Excel file or CSV file that is stored in your computer. So today we are going to talk about the data source that is not in your computer anymore. The source that I'm going to talk about today is the data from the internet. The data from the internet. Because sometimes when you get the data, some kind of data might be just like subscribe from some information service provider. For example, as I just like mentioned about this name before, it's about like Reuters company. Reuters is the company that provide the information, that sells the information to their customers. That means if you just like pay for the subscription, you can get the data from Reuters company. For example, if you want to know the data about the real-time stock price in the stock market, then instead of just like using some software in order to just like see that data, if you would like to analyze the data in the real time one, you have to subscribe. When you subscribe, you just like specify the location where the Reuters company just like tell you that, okay, you get the data from this location. That is a database. Okay, but sometimes some pieces of data come from the website that you don't need to pay for it. For example, today I'm going to talk about like getting the data from a movie web page, a box office web page. It just like talk about the revenue of the movies in different countries for a different period of time in different years. Okay, so in this one for sure, Reuters company will not collect this kind of data. But sometimes you say that, okay, your business, okay, let's say you say that, okay, your company is just like the company that is like the advertising the advertising agency, let's say. And you say that, okay, you would like to analyze and forecast the sales or the revenue of your movie, the revenue of your advertisement, that your customers might be the movie company. So you may just like want to see the trend. In this case, apart from just like the existing data that you have got, you may have to use the data from the box offices, like the world's box office as well, so that you know whether it's good or not. Okay, right. Okay, so today we are going to talk about getting the data from the internet. How to do in this one everyone, I want you to new a report file first. Okay, so to new a report file, okay, you in this one I don't use the ABC sales for CSV file anymore. I click file and new so that Power BI will just like start up the new report file for us. Okay, this is the new report file. Okay, so when you would like to get the data from the internet, you have the things that you have to know is that, okay, where is that data located first, so that you can get the data properly. Okay, so in this one everyone just go to the web browser. We will go to have a look on this website together. Okay, we will go to boxofficemojo.com. Type it in the chat box for you. Just go to this website. After that, when you go to the website already, you just locate the page that you want the data. All right, in this case assume that I want to see นะครับ the information of the box office worldwide ครับ you just click on the box office worldwide นะครับ okay I want to know the information of the box office in 2022 in 2022 okay now this one is 2022 already now let's just like scan through. So in this one, it talks about like 200 นะครับ top 200 for the worldwide box office 2022 นะครับ It talks about the name of the movie, the rank นะครับ and the revenue in worldwide นะครับ percent นะครับ for the domestic and foreign นะครับ Okay so in this one suppose I say that okay I want นะครับ I want this page I want the data from this page what should we do so นะครับ when you say that you want the data from this page you can see that this is the URL นะครับ or the address of this page it's here นะครับ the things you have to do is that you have to copy นะครับ the URL or the address of this page นะครับ highlight all of them นะครับ even though it's like very long you have to just highlight นะครับ the whole address นะครับ because when Power BI get the data it has to get the full address of this web page นะครับ then you right click and choose copy นะครับ right click and choose copy all right so when you get this address already นะครับ okay we go to Power BI we go to Power BI this is the old file okay this one นะครับ then you click get data นะครับ okay you can just like click get data from the menu home menu as well นะครับ the same thing after that you scroll down and find web here is a web then you click connect so while you are using the data from the web นะครับ while you are using the data from the web you have to make sure that you are on the internet นะครับ so that means if you are doing this Power BI report file on the plane นะครับ and on the plane if it does connect to the internet at that time you cannot refresh the data because it cannot be connect to to that website at that time you may have to wait first until you just like go to your place like in the airport then you can just like continue doing it otherwise when it is disconnected นะครับ it's the same thing as like the previous example that the CSV file is lost somewhere something like that นะครับ you cannot refresh the data at that time after that นะครับ in the URL you click นะครับ on that URL box right click and then paste okay after that you click OK so right now นะครับ Power BI will ask you that where would you like to get the data from some of the website นะครับ some of the website it does not need any login นะครับ it doesn't need any login so it said that use anonymous access for this web content means that it will not just like ask for user ID and passwordนะครับ, in here so you just choose anonymous in this one these are just like the level to apply the setting in this one that means okay in some website they have different levels นะครับ for example on the home page it doesn't ask you for logging in but when you go to some specific page it requires a login in here นะครับ it asks you that okay in which level that you would like to use the anonymous in here I said that okay from the home page of this box office module นะครับ I would like to use anonymous, then it means that it will not ask you for logging in นะครับ or if it requires a logging in, you will be the anonymous user, means that you don't want to have the login required. Some of the website it allows you นะครับ but some websites that require you to log in, you have to provide the information for logging in นะครับ otherwise when you just like try to enter that website without logging in, it may cause the error because once you do not log in, Power BI cannot access that data for you. Okay. After that, you click connect. Then right now it is connecting to the website. You can see the blinking, waiting for box office module. Right now, it is connecting. When it is connecting, Power BI will try to refresh the preview data for the page that you specify. In this step, as I told you, if you are not connecting to the internet, you cannot access to this data. Okay, then just wait. So right now, you can see that there are many tables for you. Also, it has suggested tables that, if you remember, when we get the data from ABC sales workbook long time ago, it just have suggested tables that some of them are not enough for you. In this one as well, you and Power BI, both of you are not expert in this website, or are not the owner of this website. Then when the Power BI try to analysis for you, it might not be correct one. Also, you yourself might not know the real content of the data. That's why I told you that when you just like go to that website, scan through it first, so that you can see that, okay, what are the data that you want to have. For example, if you remember, I scanned through this one to the last part of the page, and I see that, okay, the ranking is from 1 to 200, right? So that means when I get the data, I should see those 1 to 200 ranking. Also, when I scan through the column name, I have from rank, release group, worldwide, domestic, percent, foreign, and percent. So these are just like the thing that box office does for us. So that means when we have to choose the table, that table must have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fields, okay, with 200 rows. Okay, let's see. I go back to this one, and then I see the preview first. Because I don't know what does it mean by table 1, table 2, table 3. Okay, now let's have a look. Table 1 doesn't have any data. It has just the heading only. So we don't use this one. Because if you just like get this data into Power BI, it's useless. Actually, this one might just show the heading only. It does not contain any data inside. Next, table 2. For table 2, it has the data. Okay, if you scroll through, okay, this one should be the data that we want. Should be the data that we want. And number of column. Let's check whether it has like 7 column or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So this one should be the table that we want to have. Percent and percent 1, what does it mean? In our original data, it shows percent 2 times. And if you can see that in this one, the first percent means the percent for the domestic, and the next percent is percent for foreign. In here, that's why when we just get it into Power BI, you cannot have the 2 fields with the same name. That's why Power BI will try to put the second percent as percent 1 for you. Okay. In this one, you may just like get this data first and then transform it later. For example, if you say that for the percent you don't want to use, because you can just like create your own columns in order to calculate the percent by yourself later. And also this percentage has just like the symbol like less than 0.1%, something like that. That Power BI cannot interpret this meaning นะครับ This is the human symbol less than 0.1%. It might be 0.0002 something like that. So the things is that I suggest youนะครับ that percent and percent one we may not want it. We will just like delete these two columns when we get the data already นะครับ and then we calculate the percent by ourselves. So in this one นะครับ this table seems to be okay. You tick to choose this table first. Okay, we go to the next table ครับ Table 3, nothing, just the word rank นะครับ There's no data in here, so we don't choose it. For suggested table, okay, let's see what are they. Table 4. Table 4 looks okay too, but the heading is not completed. We had table 2 already, then table 4 is not required. Table 5, no, it's just the heading. Table 6, heading only. Table 7, just a part of the table. There are just 2 columns, then we don't use it. For the HTML code and display text, it's about programming. It's about HTML. We don't use it. So it seems like altogether, we have just table 2 only that we can use. When we would like to use this data already, you just like click load. You just load this data into your report file and then just wait. It takes some time. Okay. So when you just like get this data, let me just see the file, the web page. What should we name it? This is 2022 Worldwide Box Office. All right. I'll use this name as my table. Okay. Now I get table 2. I get table 2. I want to rename this table to be Worldwide Box Office 2022. So now I get the correct name for the proper name for the table already. Okay, in here. In this one, as I mentioned earlier, I don't want percent. I don't want percent columns. Or percent field and percent one field. I'll do it by myself. So in this one, when you don't want to have any fields, you have to go to the Power Query Editor in order to eliminate or to delete these fields. Okay, so I go to transform data. So in this one, this is the live data that it get it from the Movie Dojo box office currently, right? So in this one, I don't want percent and percent one column. I just like choose remove column. Click and remove. So you can see that right now we have the ranking. We have just like the name of the movie. And then we have the what to say, the revenue in each part. So in this one, as we studied before, when we get the data, you have to know that you need to clean the data first, or what we call data cleansing, if you remember. So normally when we do the data cleansing, we have to do it in Power Query Editor. The things that you see right now, the thing that you see right now is about the data type. When you just like want to see the data type in here, you can see that for rank, it is just like number that is correct. Release group, or the movie name, is a text. That's okay. But for the revenue, worldwide, domestic, and foreign, they are ABC, or that means they are text. This is not okay. You have to try to change them to be the numbers, or to be currency. Let's see. We do the worldwide first. So in this one, I want to change the data type of the worldwide to be currency or fixed decimal numbers. you can see that in this one นะครับ in this one it shows the error oh, what's going on, what should I do? It has the dollar sign, but why it shows the error? So everyone, you get the same thing as mine. Does it show the error when you try to just like change the data type? Okay, don't do the domestic and foreign yet นะครับ now we are focusing on worldwide column. So in this oneนะครับ, I just remove the change type one first so that it just go back to the original one. What's going on? In this oneนะครับ, you have to know that for Power BI, if you want to have dollar sign นะครับ, you have to set up the display as the dollar sign in Power BI นะครับ by yourself. Power BI doesn't like to have just like the dollar sign in front of that text, like the one that we have got in worldwide column, domestic column, foreign column. Then we have to use our prior knowledge. When you know that Power BI doesn't like dollar sign, and currently this is the text column นะครับ currently it's the text column. So if you don't want dollar symbol นะครับ in front, what should we do? Use the knowledge from chip address full to help. You know that if Power BI doesn't like dollar sign, then we split it out first. How to split? If you say that, okay, you want to split it out, you choose worldwide column นะครับ and then split it. So how to split? In this one, we say that, okay, dollar sign is located on the first position of every single record นะครับ have a look, okay, here you can see that, okay, in front it has dollar sign. So that means for the whole column here, the dollar sign is located in the first position only. Then when I split, I will split by using one position only นะครับ because I want to split dollar sign out. Then you choose position where you would like to split. So if you choose position 1, let's see what will happen นะครับ I choose split by position 1 and then I click OK. You can see that right now it's splitted out already. See that? And it's automatically changed from text to be number immediately. Okay, now let me do it again นะครับ Okay, this one, you can see that currently it's just the text because it has the leading dollar sign นะครับ that makes this data as a text. So we have to split dollar sign out. I choose split column by position, and dollar sign is on the first position of each cell. I choose position 1. Then I click OK. Once I do it already นะครับ Power Query Editor will analyze this data once again, and it found that, hey, actually it must be the currency. That's why it just like split it for you and then make it to become the numbers instead. So when it becomes a number already, then you can just like set it up as the currency. Don't forget นะครับ when you do anything and Power BI asks you that, okay, would you like to add a new step or not? Don't replace นะครับ always click add new step so that you can see what happened in here. So right now the worldwide column, you get the currency data type already. You get the currency data type already. Okay, so right now we have domestic column and foreign column ครับ everyone, I give you 5 minutes นะครับ change domestic column and foreign column to be numbers นะครับ as we did with the worldwide, and change after you change it to be number already, try to make it as a currency one as we did with the worldwide ครับ so everyone just do it by yourself now ครับ I give you 5 minutes นะครับ okay นะครับ so for domestic and foreign, when you have to make it as the currency data นะครับ you cannot change it straight away ครับ the things that you do is that you have to just like try to split them first. So if you ask me that, is it just like the standard way to do? Actually, I can tell you that no, it's not. It depends on different data that you have confronted with. So in this one, you can see that because, okay, it has a leading dollar sign, then I have to just like manage it by eliminate the dollar sign first. Some of you may say that, can we just like do it in Excel? The answer is no, you cannot do it in Excel because now you are accessing the web page. You are not accessing your local file. So you cannot change that web page to be Excel file. That's why you have to manage everything in the Power Query Editor. Okay, in this one, I split this column by position number 1. Right. Okay. And the type, I change it to be fixed decimal number. Add new step. Then I do the same thing with the foreign column. So in here, in here, you can see that in here, some of the records, or some of the cell, especially for the domestic one, it shows now. Now means that you don't have any values in here. You don't have any values in here. So you may just like do some something depends on the data. This one, you can see that some of the existing data, you may have the rules in your mind that, okay, if it contains null value, you may eliminate that whole records. But in this one, because the ranking is set up from ranking number 1 to 200, if you delete some null records in here, that means you lost that data for the whole record. Then you may just like leave the data like that as a null. Okay, but if you say that no, I want to clear out the null ones. So what should we do in this one? You can just like in here, you can just check the data as well in here. Okay, you may just like remove error, or remove blank rows, or remove duplicate in here. So duplicate is not the point, because it's possible that some of the movies may have the same revenue. So if you said you remove errors, see whether it removed the null records or not. For example, rank number 15 and 16. So in here, because null value is not blank, so that's why it's not eliminated. You can still just like have the null value in here. If you remember, in our ABC file, we had one table that is about employees. It said that we have a column called report to, and there was one record shows that report to no one, because he is the head of sales, let's say, or sales director. He has no need to report to other people. So that's why report to sale in that record shows now. In this one, you can see that because it is not error, when you say that you remove when you remove blank row, it doesn't remove anything. Now let's see if we remove error, what will happen. It is not error too. That's why it does not delete any rows with a null value here. Okay, right. So when we get this one already, you can see that we have the data that what we want in this one. I may rename some fields a bit. Okay, for the release group, I rename the release group as movie title. And then for the worldwide one in here, I want to rename it as worldwide revenue. Domestic and foreign as well, I rename it as domestic revenue and foreign revenue respectively. Okay. So right now, I just like manage my data alreadyนะครับ. These are all of the data that we want to get. So when you just like checkนะครับ and clean the data already, you may close and apply. Okay, then you just waitนะครับ. In this example, because we have just like one file onlyนะครับ, or one table only, so that's why when you get itนะครับ, in your Power BI report file, you have just one table onlyนะครับ. That is the 2022 World Box Office revenue in here. Okay. So in this one in this one, if I say that I want to rank by, sort by ascendingly, okay, this one I sorted already by the rank. Okay, in this one, suppose I want to know in this one I just change this one to be in US dollars. I change the symbol here at the column tools in here. All right. Now I want to create a column Let's see. I want to see whether the worldwide revenue come from domestic revenue plus foreign revenue or not Then I might just like want to test this data. I create a column to check. I create new column. So I name it as worldwide revenue test column. I said that I want to add domestic revenue by foreign revenue in here. And then I see whether they are the same or not. Okay. So you can see that actually the worldwide revenue come from domestic revenue plus foreign revenue already Okay. So in this one, if you would like to create the percent for the domestic revenue over the worldwide revenue it is easy to do You can just like do it that one. Okay. So from this one, you get the data all the data that you want already. You can create you can create your visual as you would like to have. For example, if you say that okay, you would like to see the data of your of the movies around the world for their worldwide revenue. Okay. So in this one, you may say that I want worldwide revenue by movie title. This one is like what you have in here. So if you want to show the rank too. Suppose you want to show the top 10. Okay, this is top 10 rank. right okay นะครับ this is the way that we use in order to show um, the data from the internet นะครับ according to what we would like to get um, apart from this one when we have the data from the internet like this already you can see that okay because this Power BI report file you get the data from the internet so that means when you send this report file to other people you don't need to send the data file to them as well because I mean like when you compare with the ABC sales we get the data that it is in our computer so that's why as I told you when you send it to other people you try to just like send that data file to them as well just in case that they want to edit on anything but for this file it is the file that you get from the internet when you would like to send or forward this Power BI report file to other people you just send that Power BI report file only because the data source if they want to get it is from the internet his or her or their Power BI report file here will retrieve the data automatically from the internet in here but one thing you have to be careful if the data file in the internet need to have the login in this one when you pass it to other people and when they want to change or for example they want to check with the data in the Power Query editor it may ask for the login at that time when it requests for the login and if they are not the owner of that account they may not be able to do that so this one you have to be careful but in this case okay this is like the freely available to public for the movie dojo box office in here so that's why everyone can access without any problems in here right so when we have this one already this is the way that we can get the data from the internet anything that has the data in these formats you can do the same thing without any problems for example somebody said that I have a look on the website such as billboards.com in here and you see that okay the data in the billboard look like this okay you want to get the data from billboard I can tell you that not every website you can get the data from especially for the website that just like have the data in terms of picture or something like that what does it mean some of the website you can see that if you want to notice whether you can just use that data or not you just highlight if you go to that website and you can highlight each cell separately like this that means they have the data in text you can get that data into Power BI but I mean for the pictures like this they may not be able to get in which case that Power BI cannot just like get the data for you let's see if you have the data like this okay this is the sample only okay you can see that okay assume that we want to have we see this web page that look like this one and you say that oh this one is a web page can I get this one as I told you try highlighting you can see that now I'm highlighting it but it just like highlight the whole picture it cannot highlight each cell separately if that website when you try highlighting and it just like show highlighting the whole thing except I'm sorry without just like highlighting each cell separately like I show you in this one you can see that this is separated cells has like separated highlights in this one you cannot use that data in Power BI because it seems like the data that you have that you see is a picture Power BI doesn't have the features in order to recognize the text from the picture and get into Power BI for you. So if you see the data in this format, you cannot get it. Okay. Now let's see. Suppose I want to try getting the data from Billboard's website. How can I get it? Okay. I knew a Power BI report file. Okay. In this one, when I get the new data from the Power BI report file, in here on this website, I copy the URL first. I copy the whole address, like this. After that, I go to get the data into Power BI. Now we are doing a separated task. The previous one was the movie. Then you separate it in one Power BI report file. Now I'm talking about the billboards. That is the music. The data is absolutely different. You must not link them in the same report file. Otherwise, if they are the same field name, Power BI will try to link them in the model, because Power BI think that they have like some relationships. In this one, it is not. Then I just scroll down to find web. Here. Then I just like enter the URL in here and then click OK. Then we do the same step as we did with Movie Dojo. Currently, Power BI is refreshing the data from Billboard's website. One thing that I have to tell you, some of the organization they have the security measure that we call it as firewall. For example, in MUIC, we have the firewall to protect the hackers or intruders. So that means if there are some strange activities that happen, the firewall will be blocked that transaction immediately. Accessing the data directly from Power BI to that website is just like strange activities. If you use the computers in computer lab, some of the websites you may not be able to get the data. It will be blocked because it thinks that this one is a hacker is trying to send the data to the outside world abnormally. So when we studied on campus, many times I had to ask the student in order to just like use the mobile hotspot or use their laptop computer to try getting the data from that website. This one, it takes some time. So while we are waiting, we just like go back to save the Movie Dojo file first. So we save that Movie Dojo. Okay, I call it as Movie Dojo. Movie Dojo and save it. So then you just close the file. In this one, it seems like right now the Billboard might block this transaction. They may not want other people to get the data from their website. So what does it mean? So they may know that, okay, somebody just make use of the data by using some other software. Right now we are using Power BI that is not web browser to get the data from. That's why the Billboard may disallow us to use that one. Okay, let's see. I'll try again. So this time, if it is not showing for the preview. That means it blocks my IP address from accessing this website by using the software like Power BI. Class, can you please tell me on your computer, can you get the preview for the billboard website on Power BI? Can you type in the chat box, please? Do you get it? Or you still get the same thing as my one? Does it work? So another problem that I found before was that when we studied on the campus at the same time, you can see that when I said, okay, now we are going to get the data from billboards.com, and then I give you the address, and then you try to do it together with me. That means at the same time, we have almost 40 different computers try to access that website at the same time by using some strange software that is not web browser. Now we are using this one, we call it as alienated software. It is not the browser to access the billboards website normally. So when the strange activities from the alienated software try to access that same website at the same time, they also have the firewall, and they may block us because they think that there are just like some strange activities that might be the hackers to hack their website. So that's why they may disallow us for connecting. Class, can you please tell me, can you access? Okay, Narinya said that you get all tables, but it took a long time. My one, it doesn't work. So this one is case by case basis. In this one, when I just go to Navigator, it may allow me to just like see the data, but it also takes a long time. Why is that? Why slow? The reason is because, as I told you, Power BI in the eyes of billboards.com, it is alienated software. The regular software that is used to get the data from billboard must be web browser. How does it know whether it's web browser or not? Because when you get the data, Power BI has to identify itself that, hey, this is Power BI programs. We would like to access your data. Or if you use a web browser, it just like has to identify itself that, hey, billboard website, I am Google Chrome from this version, from this kind of computer, would like to access your data. Then billboard website will acknowledge immediately that, okay, who are you? And after that, it may say that, okay, if there is some alienated software, we may allow just like one machine at the same time to get the data from billboard website. So they can set the quota that how many computers that is not web browser can access. So there might be just like thousands of the browsers can access billboard website at the same time. That is okay. But if there is another software that is not browser try to access, it may allow one or maybe two or maybe three different computers only to access. So that's why for my one, it just like take very, very long time for waiting and it doesn't show things like that. So Narinya, if you get that one already, you can play with it. Okay. And also I recommend you for anyone who can get the data from billboard already, just choose the table that you want, click load, and after that save that Power BI report file so that you can make sure that you get that data already. But for my one, it just takes a long time to do that. Okay, and then you can play with the data as we studied before. Okay, so now I just like leave this screen like this. Okay, for Sophie, it takes long time. You can see that now it's different from Movie Dojo. For Movie Dojo, why it allows like lots of computers to get the data at the same time? Because actually There are just like many people try to use Movie Dojo as a showcase to get the data from Power BI, have to visualize the data. So that's why when they know that Power BI is just like one software that people usually use to access Movie Dojo, they don't set it up as an alienate software anymore. Then they make it, they may give the same priority as a web browser. While Billboard website, not many people use it for visualize the data over there. So that's why it just like may filter out the software that is trying to access to it. Okay, right. Okay, now let's talk about like the next thing. After we finish talking about the accessing the data or getting the data from different sources already, that will be all for our Power BI that we have to know. Okay, now let me just like talk about our final examination. What are we going to have? Okay, let's see the schedule first. The first thing is that for the class that we still have, we still have the next week as our last week. So on the next week, we will have the presentation for the whole week. We have presentation for the whole week. But for the lecture class, that is it. Today is our last lecture class for Power BI. Now let's see. Now what are we going to have on our final examination? Everyone, please check the schedule properly for the final examination date. Don't miss it. On this final examination, I'll be the proctor by myself, and the protocol that we have to do for the final exam is absolutely the same thing as our midterm examination. That means everyone has to log in into Ajahn Vira's e-learning because we collect all of the exam over there. For the examination we have to use WebEx as the tools in order to communicate to each other. Be careful during the examination. If you have any problems, you have to let me know through the WebEx chat box only. I don't accept Line Messenger because I'll turn off the voice, the notification on the exam day. And also you'll be treated as cheating if you just like chat on Line. The next one, it is not fair for section 1, 2, 3 as well because they don't have our line group. They don't have my line. That's why we don't communicate on the exam day with the Line Messenger. If you have any problem, for example, you say that, okay, you would like to check whether your submission is already done or not, or you would like to leave the exam, or you would like to go to the restroom, then you have to let me know through the chat box, and then I'll respond to you over there. Next one, on the exam day, around 15 minutes before the exam starts, I will just like post the WebEx room in the e-learning of Ajahn Vira subject, and then okay, around like 5 minutes before the exam start, I'll post the exam question over there in Ajahn Vira's e-learning as well. So that means when you have to submit or when you have to see the information that is posted, we centralize it in Ajahn Vira's e-learning only. When you get that one already, what will be the content in our exam? In our examination, we have 2 questions in the exam. What are we going to do, or what are we going to test you? The first one, the data type that I will use in our exam, all of them will be Excel workbook, so that you will not be confused, and you will not have any problems. For example, if I give you, if I say that, okay, I would like you to get the data from website, it might be the same problem as the Billboard website. Like right now, you waste a lot of time and you can still not do anything about it. And let's imagine that on the exam day, we have altogether almost 200 students access to the same website นะครับ to get the data. For sure, most of the website will treat those access of the data as the alienate or just like some hacking activities. They will block you for sure. That's why the safest one is Excel นะครับ that I'll just like give it to you. So what are we going to test you? The first one, once you just like get the data already นะครับ you have to clean the data first. Okay, let me just like talk about the file that we studied before นะครับ okay. Hang on. I'll open up the ABC sales file that we used it before. Okay. So this one นะครับ when you get the data already นะครับ make sure that you transform them properly. In what aspect that you have to transform the data? Okay. In this one นะครับ the first one is that you have to make sure that นะครับ the first one is that you make sure that okay all the data type you set it up properly นะครับ because sometimes some of the data นะครับ like for the unit price I may say that okay it was like shown as dollar sign before and then I would like you to just like make it as the currency data. You have to do the same thing as I showed you on Movie Dojo to eliminate dollar sign นะครับ in Power BI in the Power Query Editor นะครับ to make it becomes just like the proper currency symbol, something like that. And after that นะครับ if there are some like field that you have to split then you have to do it นะครับ properly นะครับ if you remember นะครับ the example is like in the chip address that I just like split the country out, something like that นะครับ the next one after you just like clean the data already นะครับ before I mean to make sure that you clean it properly นะครับ everything you have to do it in this Power Query Editor นะครับ when you do the data cleansing and always add a new step so that when I check or I mark the score I mark from this apply step that you do. That means if I ask you to do it in Power BI and then you try to do it in Excel, the step that I mark the score you don't have it, then you don't get the score นะครับ because I don't see what you did in Excel. After that when you just like finish all of the data cleansing already นะครับ you just click close and apply. So what we studied นะครับ and you will be tested next is that okay when you get this data already นะครับ you have to choose the proper visual นะครับ to match with your data that you have got นะครับ I'll post the link for every visual information นะครับ and usage that each team prepare for me นะครับ in the from in the YouTube นะครับ to the what to say e-learning for you soon นะครับ so that you can just like study by yourself นะครับ what type of the visual match with what kind of data นะครับ after that the next thing that we studied was that okay when we clean the data already นะครับ the next thing that we studied and you have to know is that when we need to have some specific data, for example if you say that okay you have quantity and unit price and you would like to find the sales amount นะครับ it is a calculation from like specific columns then we learn how to create new column นะครับ in this one. If you remember to create a column, we have to go to table tools and then choose new column or whole menu and choose new column นะครับ and after that you enter the formula นะครับ this one you have to be careful นะครับ because in the exam when they ask you to create something it might need some explanation it might need some interpretation ครับ for example if I say that okay I want you to find the profit. So everyone knows that is just like the basic things that you have to know that profit come from revenue subtracted by cost. I may not tell you that, okay, it is revenue subtracted by cost. You have to think, okay. The next one that we need to know is that, okay, when you create the columns already, if you would like to format the column, for example, the tax rate column here, you say that it's 0.07, right? In this one, if you would like to show it as percentage, you can just like click column tools and choose percent directly in this table view in the data view straight away. Okay, so when you get this kind of thing already, you get the columns already. The next thing that you have to know is that sometimes we have just the data that is just one piece of data only. For example, I say that, okay, I want to know the total sales amount that we have got. In that case, you cannot create a new column called total sales amount because it will be duplicated as like every single record to show the same value. Then we have to create a measure instead. The measure, once you create, it show it will be just like one value only. It can be anywhere. But before we create the measure, for the column that we created, sometimes that column is located in another table. The way in order to relate that column into your formula in another table is that, okay, for example, in the orders detail table, we have a column called net sales column that has to use handling fee from another table. You have to use a function, the DAX function called related, and then followed by the column that you want to use in this table, because the handling fee column is in orders table, and you want to use it in the column in orders detail table, then you have to use related functions. When you use that related functions already, then you can just like use that formula to calculate. Okay. All right. Now come back to the measure. In the measure, we talk about one piece of data that we want to have it. Once you create a measure, you can just like use the DAX function to calculate the different aspects of the measure. For example, the sum, average, mean, or max. For example, if I use max, this one you can see that I just like create a measure in the orders detail table, name maximum net sales measure. In here I use max function followed by the column name. In here you have to know that the measure is a bit different from column in that for the measure it can be anywhere because once you create a measure, you can just like use the data from any places in any tables to calculate. It's different from the column, because for the column, if you use the data from different tables, you have to use related function. But for the measure here, normally it can be anywhere. So that means for my suggestion, if I ask you to create, let's say, the total sales amount, you have to know that, okay, sales amount is in the orders detail, then the measure of the total sales amount should be in the order detail too, because I mean, like, when you just like want to use it later on, you know where to find it. Okay. The next thing, when we create the measure, another different thing is that measure doesn't show the value in your table because it's just one piece of data. It cannot be shown in every single records. The only way to show the value of the measure is that you have to use a visual like a card or multi-row card to show the data in that measure. Like this one. We create a card and then we just choose the data in the total discount amount, let's say, to show something like that. When we get this measure already, you can just like show it by using a visual in your report view in here. Bear in mind that there are two of the visual that I just like don't recommend you to use in our exam. One is table, the other is matrix. Because table and matrix, they just like don't show, they just like show the data, but the data is too detailed and then it's just like very hard to analyze. For example, if we say that, okay, you want to show order ID and the sales amount, you can see that this is like very difficult to see and to read, especially when you are in the meeting room. The visual should be just like the things that help the viewer or the person who view your file to distinguish among the things, and it's attractive too. This one, you can see that when you use the table like this, is not attractive at all. And also in this one, if you would like to see which one is the maximum one, which one is the less the minimum one, and if you would like to group them, you cannot do it in this table. But if you just like use other kind of charts or other visuals, they are better in order to just like visualize and categorize them. Okay, right. So for the two questions that I just like give it to you will be different business. So the things that you have to be careful some of the students did wrongly. They thought that, so for example, I said that company A and company B they thought that company A and company B are the same company. So when they create measures, when they create the columns, they just like mix them up, so you don't get the score because they are different businesses. And then the nature of business are different. Some of the business case that I give it to you might be the service business. Some of the businesses might be like the manufacturing business. Then you cannot just like use those information together. It will be wrong. Okay, so you have to be careful. When I just like assign you for question number 1 and question number 2, you have to just like create 2 different Power BI report files and submit it to me. And the channel of submission is through e-learning only. So that means I don't accept through email. So if you send it to me later, we cannot accept it, because like as in midterm exam, Ajahn Veera and me got like some submission from some students. They submit later. If you remember, the exam time on the midterm was 1 to 4 p.m. if you remember. The student submitted to us around like 4:40 p.m. That means it is late already. If we can accept that one, it's not fair for other students, right? Because other students submitted on time and on the correct channel. So that's why everyone has to know if you have the problem of submission, the trouble in the submission during the exam time, you have to let us know immediately. I mean, for the final one, it is let me know immediately, because I have to just like help you to fix the problem. Otherwise, if I just like quit from WebEx already, I don't accept any file anymore. That means if you submit already and you are sure that you submit, how to make sure that you submit? You just go back to the e-learning once again. In the submission part that I just open it up, you see that what you submit. That means you submitted already. Okay, so that is okay. But anyway, if you still don't see it, make sure that your submission is completed before you leave the room. Otherwise, if I close the WebEx room already, I don't accept anything. Okay, that are like 2 of the questions that we are going to have in this final examination. So on next week, what are we going to do? On Monday, we begin with the presentation. For the presentation, I will random the presentation order for you guys. So the things that you have to do apart from being the presenters, when you do not present, you have to be the good audience. That means I will let you evaluate the team that is presenting. The link I mean not the link, sorry, the evaluation will be just like open when that team finish presentation. That means, for example, if let's say we start the first team 8 o'clock to 8:15, let's say, when you finish when the first team finish presentation, like let's say 8:15 to 8:30, I will open up the submission for the evaluation for team number one. And then when I say that, okay, I close the evaluation, that means you can no longer access to it. So for anyone who just like don't listen to that presentation, you just straightforwardly tell me that, okay, you didn't listen to it, something like that, so that the evaluation score for that team will not be counted, if you don't listen to that one, because I don't want you to just guess or just like randomly answer in the questionnaire. So the presentation will consist of, the score consists of various parts. The first one is your presentation. Second one is the files that you submitted to me that are Excel file, PowerPoint slides that you use. Okay, and the third part come from your the evaluation from other teams. The other part come from you yourself as the evaluator, that you evaluate other teams as well. That comes together to be let's say 20 points, 20%. So that means right now, after midterm, the midterm was 40%, right? We still have 60% left. 60% come from final exam, 35%. And then we still have like 25% left. 25% come from assignment, 5%. Right now you submit all the assignment already. And then the rest of them, 20% will be the part of your presentation, the team presentation, right? Okay, and when the last team finish presentation, I'll wrap up for the presentation things, tools and techniques that you should know before we end the class. Okay, that should be all from me, for the things that you have to know about the examination and the things that we have to do on the next week. So up to this point, do you have any questions, anyone?